everyone, welcome to Watercolor Wednesday. I am Bonnie Krebs, creator of Watercolor the Art Impressions Way, and this week we're going to continue on with the new releases from July, and we're going to go on to this little boy set. So we're going to use this little guy right here. We're going to put him on the dock and create this little simple painting. It's really kind of whimsical, and it's really fun to do these simple ones. So you don't have to include a lot of details. Actually, this is only, I think, 4 stamps and not very many colors. I think about 5 or 6 markers. So super easy to do. You can put this together really, really quickly. So I'm going to show you how to do that. We're going to need a few things. So in addition to this little boy right here, we're going to put this little dog next to him. So from the mini critter set, the little dog. And then in the boat set, we're going to use the pier right here, the little dock. And then we're going to create that little fishing rod of his, and we're going to use this little branch right here. Okay, so that's all we need to get started. We're going to start out with that little guy. So we're going to ink him up, and we're just going to ink him with a really light, color. So we're going to use the not the African violet, but we're going to use the number 40. Does it sit here? Number 40 brownish gray. This is the one I'm looking for. So we're going to ink him all up. In that number 40. And we're going to stamp him about in the center, just a little bit over to the right. So about there is good. We want him pretty light. We don't want him to look like he's got an outline around him, so we want him to look really natural, and that's why we're going to ink him in a really light color. Okay, so let's go on to his little puppy, and we're going to ink this one now in sepia. So let me grab that one. This is sepia, and I'm going to use my positioner. I want to make sure that I get him into the right place. So let me just clean this off here really quickly with my thumbs. And I'm going to place that little shield into the corner and ink this little guy up. So we're going to ink him in sepia. Stamp him right into the corner, so flush right into that corner. And we can place him right next to his little friend right here. That's perfect. Place that back in the corner. Huff on that stamp. And stamp it right in here. Remember not to press too hard, especially when you're doing these whimsical little paintings. You want these lines to be really light, and so we don't want to ink that too hard. We don't want to press too hard on that. Okay, so now what I've done is I've cut a couple of masks. I've used my Post-it tape and stamped on there and cut a couple of masks so that I can cover these little guys. And we're going to stamp the little dock on here now. So I'm going to ink this up, and I'm going to use 2 colors. So African violet, and then sepia. 2 colors. Get this all inked up. And I'm going to use my positioner again because I really want to make sure that I get this in the right place. And place that in the corner. So I'll just kind of hold this steady and place that right into the corner. And now I can see exactly where I want to position that. I'm going to put him clear down at the end of the dock. Looks like about there. Just make sure that dock is straight, the line is straight. And I think that's good right there. So huff on that. And stamp that right in there. Perfect. Okay, so now we can remove the mask. And we've got our little guys on the dock. Exactly where we want them to be. So let's go ahead now and start pulling the color out of the lines. So let's start with the dock. So we've got a gray, kind of a gray color going on here because we use those 2 colors. So we really want to use that. This is kind of an old weathered dock, and so we want to see that mix of colors. So make sure when you're pulling these color out of the lines, you're staying in those sections. And then these little posts right here, we're going to see those too. So I'm just going to kind of come right along here, just like so. Okay, so now I'm going to take my sepia and I want to kind of put these little boards back in. So I've stamped this really light, and now I want to go back here and define some of these little boards. So I want this old weathered dock, but we still need to see where those boards are. So just kind of draw these little boards back in. So just like that. And then these posts that are in the background, I'm going to go ahead and make those really dark. So I'm using my fine tip and I'm really making that dark in the background. Okay, so now I'm going to go back over all of this with my brush. So I'm going to soften this up now, these posts, and then back in here I'm going to pull some of this color out. So we're going to make this look really soft. And we want to see lots of different colors on here. An old weathered dock like that is going to have a mix of color. Okay, that looks pretty good. So let's go on from here. Let's go on to the little guy, and we're going to pull some of this color out of the lines. So just kind of drag your brush around and just follow these lines. It's going to be really soft and really light. And that's what we're looking for. Let's go on now to little dog. Just drag that color out of the lines. Okay, that looks pretty good. So let's go ahead now and add some color to this little boy. And let's start out with the skin tone. So we're going to use two colors on the skin tone. We're going to start out with the number 47. And then we're going to mix some of this number 30 with it. I hope you can see these light colors. And then you decide what ethnicity you want this little child to be. You can make the skin tone as dark as you want it. You just keep applying the color. So more passes creates darker color. And you can make him personal to you. So take your time and just apply this color very lightly. Super lightly. Make sure your brush is cleaned out so you don't have anything in it, any other random colors in it. And just gradually start adding this color. And if you feel like it's getting too wet, just wait a minute and let it dry and then go back in again. So I think mine's getting a little wet here, so I'm going to go on to the hair and I'm going to use some sepia to start out. And we want to make sure that we see the highlight on top of this little guy's head. Short little round brush strokes means curly hair. So you can easily change this little guy, make his hair curly. Little round circular strokes like that. Always leave that highlight on the top. And let's add another color here. So I'm just using a dark brown. This is more of a chocolate brown. And I'm just going to come back in with this color. Back in here now. So take your time. These are tiny little areas and you want to make sure that you don't get too much color or too much water. So let's go back now to the skin tone. And just keep applying this color. Okay, let's go on to his little jeans. And we're going to use a number 86 here. And we're just going to take some of this color lightly and brush this on. So the tops of his knees, that's also the top of the image. So you want to make sure that you leave a little highlight on the top of his knees. You're just going to be happier if you don't color everything in solid. And then we want to take some of this, this light blue and put a little shadow in here on his shirt. So even though we're leaving it white, we don't want to leave it uncolored. So we want to, for sure, show maybe a few little wrinkles in it. And let's go back in here and really get these little pockets. And under this little guy, we're going to have a little shadow under here, and under this little puppy too. Okay, let's go back in with a little more color on this little guy's face. I'm going to add a little more of this number 30. And add a little more color to his ears. This is a process and you want to take your time and just make sure you're getting this color in there very slowly. Okay, let's go on. I'm going to add some more of this number 30 to my palette and color this little dog in. Start lightly with this guy too. Let's do his little ears first. And remember, you want to keep that area of the face light. So not too much color on that area. And just kind of keep building the color. I'm going to take my fine tip now of my sepia and really darken in his little eyes. And let's add just a little more color here. It always pays off to take your time and just keep building this color. Okay, that looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and add some sky in here. We're going to do that with this African violet. So I'm going to take some of this color now and just kind of brush in the sky all around. Just kind of don't touch the outline of this little guy. We don't want that sepia to bleed into the blue, and it will if you touch it. So let's take a little of this color around like this. And we're just going to kind of blend off this little pier. We don't want it to look like it's got a harsh edge. So we can just kind of blend that out. And then let's go ahead and put the water in. So the water is super easy. And what you want to do is just keep your hand light. Keep your hand light and try to keep some white areas. Just keep your hand straight and just kind of brush it in. Let it just kind of fade out in the back. And then underneath the pier, it's going to be pretty dark under there. So let that dry for just a second. And then get a little more color and just get a little darker color under here. And then mix a little sepia with this now. So add a little sepia into that blue. And just make a few little marks here where this little pier is. And let's put just a little shadow under here. shadow under this little guy. And let's darken his little pockets. There we go. Looks pretty good. If you're missing any lines, you can put them back in. Just use your light, you know, your lightest colors. This is the number 30. And I'm just putting a few little lines back in here. And then just add some water and just kind of blend it out. Okay, that looks pretty good. So we're going to just add his little fishing pole into his hand, and we can do that easily. And I'm just going to put this mask back on him just to cover him up a little bit. And I'm going to use the sepia. And I'm just going to ink one of these little branches. So just one. And I'll just stamp it in here like this. And then just a little, you've got a little knot here, so you can kind of make that the string. And then just bring this straight down into the water. Just add a little more detail. I don't know if I can actually finish a piece without adding a few little details with my sepia pen. I just think it's a habit anymore. So I always go back in and just put a few little lines here and there. And I think we are about finished. And there you have it. Mount that on a card or put it in a frame and give it away to someone. You are going to make their day. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, one more thing, sign and date. How did I almost forget that? Wow. There we go, sign and date, and give it away to someone. You're gonna make their day. Thank you so much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and I will see you all next week.